Patrick Cripps, it's splendid to have you on AFL360. Welcome.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Robbo.
It's 3 years it's taken for you.
I know, I said I'd finally get on here, so I had on my word, and yeah, it's good to be here, mate.
How much did he badger you to get you to do it?
Oh, a couple of times.
Yeah, I definitely saw him out a couple of times. One time was at the races.
One time at the races, I grabbed you. Another one was at the All-Australian at...
yeah, that's right.
At Tennis Centre. You had your broken arm, did you?
No, it was all good then, but that was, I think I was with Charlie then at the time. We'll carry on a little bit, so yeah.
Anyway.
I bailed last year, but I'm on for it this year, so...
Why? I mean, why? Is it because you're a lot more comfortable where you are and where Carlton is?
Yeah, a bit of both. Yeah, it's definitely well documented early in my career. I didn't love media, probably just the exposure to it, and probably wasn't ready for it. But you know, you get trained a lot throughout your career, and you get exposed to different situations. So yeah, there's that. One, the element. You know, there's also I feel like you see a lot of players expressing their views, and I suppose it's just even something for career development and getting out there and I suppose expressing your views and showing a bit more of your personality. So
we've got no rules, you just can't lie, right? You've got to answer every question.
That's fair enough.
Okay,
yeah. Sounds good.
Well, let's warm you up with one of the biggest tribunal cases in many a year. So this is the scene out at Moorabbin tonight. Jimmy Webster, when this verdict does come down, is going to come out and address the football public. He has been at the midst of the firestorm, and his fate is now in the balance. A couple of hours since the hearing began, the AFL's petitioned for an 8-week penalty, and St Kilda are doing all they can to reduce that. But there was nothing in Webster's words or conduct to minimise what he did. I must say, Patrick, this is as contrite as I've ever seen a player who just knows that things went completely wrong and doesn't want to mitigate or shirk it in any way.
Yeah, I think I've listened to a bit of stuff around it in the last day or two and heard a lot of different takes. I think everyone comes to the conclusion it's something we don't want to see. And I heard Toby speak before, and he said he felt for Jimmy, and I'm the same, because I think if he had his moment again, he wouldn't do it. But a split-second decision, he's had a reaction which caused something that we don't want to see in the game. So, and then, you know, concussion's obviously a massive topic in the game, and there's been a lot of rules change, you know, in the last 5 years, especially to try and protect the player's head. So the game's definitely going that way. I think you listen to anyone talk, everyone says the same thing, that, you know, we don't want to see that act in the game, but at the same time, you don't want to see Jimmy just fully thrown under a bus. So I'm sure if he had his time again, he would want to do something different.
So a lot of this rests with the players and your conduct towards each other. At what point does it start to temper actions, I suppose? This feels so old school, and it was jarring when it happened. And Jai Simpkin, that's his third concussion in 12 months, so we all understand what that means. How real is that peer-to-peer between the player group now?
I think we all understand, you know, what actions are, I suppose, prohibited now and what aren't. And if you think about, since I've started in the game, like, you know, the sling tackles now are canned. We don't want to take people to ground as much. You know, when I first started, bump was probably still in the game. That's pretty much nearly eradicated now. But you got to look back, you think when we were 5 or 6 and we were learning the game, these sort of things were probably encouraged. Not encouraged in terms of taking people's heads off like that. But
not derided. Yeah,
it wasn't saying this is not on. So in a way, you've trained over so many years to play, you know, aggressive at the ball, aggressive at the man, and it's a physical game. So this instance is something we don't want to see in the game, but that's why I feel for him, because he knows as soon as he's done it, he goes, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But, you know, he's probably been doing actions like that since he was a kid. So I have a bit of sympathy in that sort of sense.
I think it's fantastic for him to come out and be in the media tonight. It's not for the media, for the footy world, because that's his idea. Yep. I don't think he's getting told to get out there. You're right. His apology was a fantastic apology.
Yeah, well,
for him to front tonight's enormous from him.
Yeah, and it just shows you I'm sure he would have reached out to Jai and would have apologised, and he knows he's living with the consequence. And I think everyone that's spoken about this incident has the same conclusion. So. Yeah, I think the game's definitely heading in the right direction. I think we'll see less and less, but I still don't think. I still think with how quick the game's played and the reaction, there's still going to be the odd incident that comes up, and you know, the more education and the more the game evolves, the less and less we will see it, I think.
How many times over your career have you had to ring opposition players to say, sorry, are you okay? And how many times have players rang you?
Yeah.
He said, sorry about that, Paddy.
Definitely a few, and it's all type of injuries. You know, it's not just head injuries. It's, you know, if you're involved in any incident where someone gets injured, you want to reach out because although we're all competitors, the longer you're in the game, the more you become mates with a lot of other people. And on game day, you want to compete and you want to win, but you realise that the game's, people's lives in that is much bigger than the game.
And what's it like when your fate is in the hands of the tribunal? You lived that very high profile across a couple of nights a couple of years ago. How tense is that for a player?
Yeah, it's all new. It was all over Zoom, so it was very different. But it is because a lot of it's out of your control. Yeah, I was actually reflecting on that driving in today. Yeah, it was an interesting week, but yeah, there's not much you can do. You sort of, you know, once certain things are done, you just got to leave it up to the people in control, and you know, you got to live with the consequences of whatever comes from it.
Is the system intimidating?
I think the hardest thing with the system is, you know, sometimes the differences between what gets graded, say 2 weeks versus 4. There's still inconsistency in that. I think a lot of people would say, and but it's hard though because you know every incident's also different. So
you feel like you're in a trial, like a reality.
Yeah, when you're being cross-examined.
Yeah, it's like you're in the courtroom.
Yeah,
because they go hard.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But it's also like you rock up every day. There's media at the club. I remember at the time I was actually going through a back entrance at the club, riding a bike in, so I tried to avoid that. But it's crazy. Like you feel like it's a bit like you go into your inner sanctum at the club and it's calm and it's just normal life. But then you go outside and there's cameras everywhere. It's like a circus. You're like, what's going on here? So yeah, it's two different extremes. Yeah.
Michael Voss told us last night he got emotional when announcing that Zack Williams was going to play. As captain, as a teammate, what was it like for you?
Carlton have allowed us to show.
Oh, have they?
And then, yeah, you can take us inside.
Yeah.
Zachy, you're going to play this week. You're going to play. Got me, mate. You're okay. So on a plane to your home, this is Tribunal, I'm thinking, God, Zach's on my way. It's a long way away. Certainly didn't have to be football, this is about why I waited for a while. And didn't know we were going to get back to you, mate. So it's been a big 12 months for you, 18 months for you. So that's the journey we've been on. And sitting on that plane and sort of seeing you on that particular day, I just thought, geez, I don't know, we're going to get back to this day. I'm so proud of you, mate. So proud of you.
It's a great story. It always is when people come back from long-term injury. How often have you seen Vossi cry?
Not a lot, but I think it just shows you. I think in what footy clubs are like, how special they are. Like it's you know, you have your family, but you're around a lot of people for long periods of time, and you build such strong connections with people, which is what makes it so special. And I actually tuned in last night to have a listen to Vossi, and he said, you know, that's why he coaches. It's like it's much more than just wins and losses. It's the, you know, giving people that news, but also if you hear to Zach's story, like, you know, he lost his sister last year, which is you know, it's something that's so challenging. Obviously coming back from knee, which covered her knee's minor in terms of what he went through last year, but you know, to rehab during that time, grieve, and then to see him back, and he's a guy that footy, you know, it brings the best out of him. Like you can see the energy, he smiles.
He's a very bouncy character, isn't he?
Yeah, and he plays like that too. Like he plays free, and he's got that dash and creativity. So I actually texted him. I texted him before the Geelong game. I thought he was playing, but he was actually playing the week after. So he was just so pumped to play, and he came in. Obviously, it was emotional when Vossi told him, which is awesome to see.
And what an asset!
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and what an asset he should be.
Yeah, and he's great, especially the way the game's played now. And you know, just see him. Like after that, he was just bouncing around the club and smiling, and that's what you play footy for. And he's going to add a lot to our team. Like he said, he's dash off half back. He's got that creativity, takes the game on, and he's bold. So. Yeah, I'm excited to play with him this week for sure.
Good on you.
From where you left off last year and the taste of the big time that you had, what's that done for you over summer?
Yeah, it's I've just craved those moments, and we all have as a group for so long. And when you're trying to build something, like we bottomed out as a club, like were down there for a long time, and it took a lot of hard work to get into a position to even, you know, be around the mark. So to actually play in finals was huge, and then to actually win a few in front of a full G, that's just what you dream of as a kid. So it does motivate you even more, and it just leaves a feeling that everyone talked about finals, and I'd obviously never experienced it. All of us hadn't, and then you get that taste, and it's everything and more than you expect. So I actually went back and watched the prelim the other day just to get a bit more motivation, and it's hard because the way we started, you know, you're so close, but then obviously you don't get over the line. But just excited now for this week. You know, we get to go to the place where our season finished against a team that I've got a lot of respect for. Not only the way they played there last year, but the last sort of 5 years, and you know, have a crack at their home ground. So,
when you watched it, what were you looking for? Were you looking for single moments, a flavour of it, your own involvement? What did it do for you?
First was just the feel, like what did it feel like, because you know, sometimes you leave that and just, you know, it happens so quick, and all of a sudden you're away on holiday, and you know, just sort of processed it all, but also feel the buzz of, you know, what that first quarter was like, but also then how the game unfolded after that. And you know, we unpicked it a bit as a group, but then there's little parts of your game that you always, you know, trying to level up a little bit and pick parts where you wish you could have done better. But everyone has those moments. But yeah, I enjoy watching footy, so it was good to see the buzz and see how close we got, but also that motivation to say, all right, you know, we didn't quite get there. Everything starts at 0-0 again. Now, just be excited to get after it again.
A lot of people play Supercoach. I'm sure you don't, but hundreds of thousands of others do. Sam Walsh has gone down with a back injury. People are considering you as a Supercoach option. Where will you mainly play this year? Mid, forward, mid-forward, or forward-mid?
There's a lot of options there. Could even be ruck, Robbo.
You could be, actually.
No, I'll play sort of mainly mid, drift forward every now and then. So, yeah, pretty similar role how I played the last couple of years under Vossi. So, yeah, I'm definitely better at Supercoach than I am at fantasy. You get a bit more contested positive, mate, but I handle too much for fantasy.
It's great to have you as part of it, Patrick. We look forward to sharing the journey with you. It's been worth the wait, so good on you. Get after it, and we look forward to sharing it with you.
No, thanks.
Well done, Paddy.
Patrick Cripps, the Carlton captain. The Blues are one of the centrepiece items of opening round, which will enthrall us all.